Yo, this is Fate, and this is gonna be a walkthrough on how to systematically P-rank P2 on Ultra Kill on standard difficulty. As we approach the first arena here, I learned this little trick on the guides on Steam, where there's a small platform above the archers you can just stand on and pick off your enemies with little effort. After you clear a couple of Cerberuses, you'll get a ferryman to appear. Three rockets to the body, followed by a melee prepared cannonball. The secondary will weaken him enough for you to kill him on the ground. And the reason why I moved down early is to boost up the score multiplier to get as much score as I can before clearing the area. So after this room, you could go after the two virtues outside. Generally, you know this will not be the prettiest P-rank video you'll come across, as you see from my masterful use of coin here. But hopefully this will serve as a guide to help you get close to getting your own P-rank using your own system. So we're about 5,000 in score as we get to the next arena here. Here I jump to the left corner here to set up another solid blade trap to get big damage on the swordsmithing sentry that spawn here. Then attempting to get close to get them close to death using a railgun shot. After cleaning up the big threats here, it's just a matter of clearing up the rest of the enemies on this map. So on a general note, when it comes to getting a P rank on P2, your focus is to get through as fast as you can. Here we have about a score of about 6,000 to 8,000. Slide all the way through, you get a Cerberus to spawn in front of you. You can set up another solid blade trap in this corner here, which will act like a blender when the street cleaners approach you from behind. And in this arena here, you're going to be doing some juggling between a sentry that spawns in front of you and the two swords machines that will spawn behind you. Dodging the mind flayers shouldn't be what you should be focusing on. You're going to have to move and dodge fast enough where the mind flayers aren't concerned. Again, your focus is taking care of the two swords machines, then bouncing back to the sentry and going back and forth. Second phase of this arena, you're going to want to treat it like a high-level cyber grind. For me, I focused more on survivability. For me, what worked for me was prioritizing the malicious faces, taking them each down with two melees and shotgun blasts, then moving on to the virtues. If you could do it right, you could get the double kill with the virtues with a lined up rail shot. And then from here on out, it's just a standard double fight with the two mind flayers after you break off the two idols. If you're really good, you could try to get the insta kill with a propelled shoddy or even rockets. If not, then rockets are going to be effective. Coins with revolver. Pairing homing shots back with your fist will be the way to go. So by now, if you're worried about score, you should have at least about 12 to 14,000 minimum, being in a good shape with style points. And coming up next will be a double insurrectionist fight, which will be one of the more easier fights of this whole level. Because what worked for me was setting up another solid blade trap at the opening, following up with a railgun shot, pounding them with rockets, and then going with a second round of solid blade traps if you can. Because if you could get these solid blade traps in effectively, you'll be doing mad damage to these insurrectionists pretty quick. So now we're about the 3-minute 30 mark with about 17,000 in score. And you're going to want a lot of health for this because this is going to be the worst map in the level. Here I started off with an electric railgun lined up with the virtue and malicious face on one side. And this is going to be pretty much a game of floor, ceiling, and walls are all lava. Keep in mind with the sentry in the room, as you're going to want to stun him to prevent him from being a threat as you proceed with cleaning up this room. Moving on to the next room, you're going to get some early hits in with the Cerberus that spawns here. You could utilize the friendly fire from the face here to get hurt and hopefully kill the sentry, but you're going to want to concentrate on the malicious face first. Reason for this is you see that shockwave, it pops the sentries in the air for an easy double kill, and then from here on out it's just taking care of the two Cerberuses. Here, rockets and cannonballs seem to be very effective for a quick kill. So we're about 4 minutes into the room for the final part before the boss, probably the second hardest room in the level. Here, this fight will happen in 3 parts. For the start up with another solid blade here, solid blade trap, and keep an eye on that stalker. If you can, try to keep it juggled in the air with propelled shotties or rockets. while setting up continuous saw blade traps on the floor to take care of the ferryman and sword machines. Next, for part 2, you're going to want to take out your electric railgun here and line up the 2 shots with the sentries. Try to follow up with another pierce if you can to get him hurt or near death. After killing the 2 sentries, it's just a matter of bouncing around juggling the other 2 sentries. What worked for me was saw blade traps or rockets on propelled shotties while they're popped up in the air. And then for this final part here, you're going to want to concentrate on 3 things. Breaking that idol, using saw blade traps to deal with the floor, and then dealing with the 3 virtues in the air. Switching between the last 2 back and forth. After I break the idol here, I take to the air to deal with the virtues first with pistol and shoddy. And if my weapons start to get stale, I reset the freshness by doing more saw blade traps on the floor. And as you notice here, saw blades do nice work on the hideous messes. And I concentrate on that once it gets to near death. So once you kill most of this room and break this, break the idol, as you see her coming shortly, you can use your marksman revolver to give the quick kill on that stalker. And there you have it. That's all the rooms. And that's getting to the final boss with about 30,000 in score. So again, to clarify, what I concentrated on is clearing rooms fast. Style wasn't a concern for me. As long as you're moving around and using fresh weapons for most of the rooms, you're going to get a good score. So here, as we approach the prison, this is going to be a warm-up fight compared to P1. You're only going to want to get it down to half health. So start out with this fight by sticking a saw blade saw trap on the prison, doing piercing damage. Rockets are always solid. Electric railgun. You're going to want to keep these yellow balls in the air, because you're going to want to use that for movement and grapple movement once it does this attack here for these once the prison does this like yellow ball thing that tracks your movement. And here you are with the final boss, Sisyphus Prime. You can climb up here and dive down once the prison opens up and you're in need of help. So you can start up by setting a saw blade trap here at its feet, so they'll be immediately hit once the fight starts. And the best advice I could give you is you're going to want to practice this fight with the shortcut to the point where you can dodge based on sound keys. You know, for you can't escape, try to get the dodge timing down with the dodge dash on hit 1, slide on hit 2, dash on hit 3, slide on hit 4, then a slide hop on the final attack of the string. And we'll see this better on when we get to phase 2. And then you'll also want to learn parry timings, such as on this will hurt, as parries will be your effective way of healing rather than your screwdriver. You're going to want to use electric for damage. And then when you get to phase 2, hold your breath and hope for the best. Because for this part, #1 thing to keep in mind is stamina management. Attacks in phase 2 will come in longer strings, so that's why it seems more overwhelming. So you're going to want that stamina to dodge at the right times. If not, you're just going to get caught in an attack string and that could end the run. And at this point, I just stopped thinking and just did things based on instinct. You can't really overthink this fight or else you're going to be too slow to comprehend what's going on. That's why I was practicing to the point where I was dodging based on sound cues. So again, it does look messy, but for me, this got the job done. You see that dodge on You Can't Escape? That's going to be important to surviving. And I lost track of this guy, and he was fortunate to stop attacking there for me to get the final kill.
So of King Sisyphus, a fitting end to an existence defined by futile struggle, doomed from the very start. And I don't regret a second of it.
And there you have it. That was my quote-unquote systematic approach to getting a P rank on P2. Hopefully this video will be helpful for you to getting your own P rank on P2. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you all later.